Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine, just for a second, that you are a world-class trauma surgeon.
Right.
You are the guy they call when a knee is shattered into a dozen pieces or, a spine is compromised in a way that makes other doctors just sweat.
You're at the absolute top of your
The
game.
top. You live for the operating room. You drive a Porsche that you treat better than most people treat their children. And your idea of a truly bad day is losing a patient on the table.
That sounds like a pretty high-stress baseline to begin with.
Oh, absolutely. But now imagine that your bad day involves a ghost from your past literally appearing at a cemetery where you are mourning her to drag you into a secret underground bunker
Okay.
to operate on a warrior princess who happens to be a 300-year-old vampire.
It is quite the shift in operating conditions, isn't it? From a sterile hospital to a supernatural bunker.
Just a little. Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we are sinking our teeth pun, absolutely intended, I couldn't resist, into the chaotic, leather-clad, and emotionally heavy world of the Black Dagger Brotherhood.
I was waiting for that one.
Had to be done. Specifically, we are looking at the events unfolding in Lover Unleashed. And wow, do we have a stack of sources today? We are looking at a narrative that really, it bridges two completely different realities.
Precisely. It's a fascinating juxtaposition. On one hand, we have the human world. It's gritty, it's loud, it's recognizable.
Right, you've got the Aqueduct Racetrack in Queens, the high-stakes pressure cooker of St. Francis Hospital, very real-world stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, you have this hidden society in Caldwell, New York, a society of vampire warriors, ancient bloodlines, and a war that's been going on for centuries against this group called the Lessening Society.
And the mission for this deep dive is to see what happens when those two worlds just crash into each other. Because usually in these kinds of stories, the masquerade is perfect, right?
Yeah, the veil's maintained.
The humans stay in their lane, the vampires stay in the shadows. But here we're talking about a catastrophic collision caused by a spinal injury. We've got a ghost returning from the grave and a forbidden attraction that defies biology. It's basically a medical drama, a fantasy epic, and a soap opera all rolled into one.
It is. But I think what makes this specific source material so rich is that underneath all the fantasy elements, the fangs, the leather, the luxury cars, this is really a profound study on trauma.
Oh, 100%.
We're seeing how different characters, human and vampire alike, respond to being broken. Whether it's a horse with a shattered leg, a warrior paralyzed in her prime, or a doctor grieving a loss he just can't explain.
That theme of fixing what's broken is everywhere in this text. So let's jump right into the human element, because before we get to the supernatural stuff, the story grounds us in something very, very real. We start with Dr. Manuel Manello.
Many. Dr. Manello is a fascinating entry point for the listener. He is the chief of surgery, highly competent, a man of science. But when we first meet him in the source material, he's at the Aqueduct Racetrack.
Yep.
And he's not there to gamble for fun. He is there for his horse.
Glory, glory, hallelujah.
What a name. Glory, glory, hallelujah. I love that. And Manny is obsessed with her. The text describes him watching her race, and he's not just an owner standing in a box sipping champagne. He's emotionally tethered to this animal.
Totally.
And he says she's a fighter, that she was going to, and I quote, eat the other colt's fucking lunch.
That aggression is key to understanding Manny's character. He admires strength, he admires the will to fight, but then disaster strikes.
It's a horrible scene.
It's a chaotic scene. Another colt causes a crash on the track, glory goes down, and this is where we see who Manny really is. It doesn't turn away.
No, he vaults the rail, he runs right onto the dirt track,
Right.
while the other horses are still running.
And this scene is intense. You can almost smell the dirt and the fear. The track vet gets there, takes one look at the horse's leg, it's just flopping around, a multiple fracture, and gives the universal signal for put her down.
The logical medical decision, the humane one probably.
Okay.
It is. But Manny, he just loses it. He physically threatens the vet. He grabs the guy by the jacket and says, stabilize the brake. Do it now.
Wow.
It establishes Manny as a man who refuses to accept a hopeless case. But there is a psychological layer here that the text really hints at. Over the last year, Manny has been mourning the death of Jane Whitcomb, a colleague he loved.
Right.
He projects that grief onto the horse. He refuses to let death win again.
It's like he's trying to rewrite history, right? He couldn't save Jane from her car crash, so he has to save this horse. He has to win this one.
Exactly. It's a transfer of trauma. He is desperate for a win against mortality.
Speaking of Jane Whitcomb, here's where it gets really interesting. Because to Manny and the rest of the human world, Dr. Jane Whitcomb died in a car accident a year ago.
Yeah. Case closed.
Closed casket, the whole deal. He mourned her. He buried her.
Correct. But in the reality of the Brotherhood, she didn't die well. Not in the traditional sense. She's a ghost or a spirit who's been granted the ability to become corporeal, to become solid, by this deity called the Scribe Virgin.
And she's mated to Vicious, one of the brothers, and she serves as their doctor.
But she finds herself in a situation she can't handle. She has a patient with an injury that is just beyond her skills.
So she goes to find Manny. She needs the best hands in the business, and she can't find him. She tries his hospital, his condo, his gym. Finally, she finds him at the one place he shouldn't be if he had truly moved on.
Pine Grove Cemetery.
At her own grave.
The symbolism there is, it's heavy.
Yeah.
Manny is standing at her empty grave because there was no body to bury, and he's mourning her. He's talking to the headstone.
And then she appears.
Can you even imagine?
No. You're crying over someone's grave and they tap you on the shoulder. He thinks he's losing his mind. The source text describes him screaming, tripping over her headstone, landing on the grass. He just yells, "I buried you."
It's a perfectly rational reaction to a completely irrational event.
Yeah.
And Jane. She doesn't have time to ease him into it.
There's no time for a gentle intro to the supernatural.
None. She can't explain the vampire biology or the spiritual intervention. She just appeals to his ego and his skill. She says she has a surgery that is over her head. She appeals to their past professional bond.
And that appeal works because Manny is, at his core, a healer. He's desperate for closure with her, and she is desperate to save her sister-in-law. It's this theme of desperation that just drives the entire first act.
It really does.
They are both willing to break the rules of their respective realities to fix what is broken.
It's also worth noting the trust involved.
Yeah.
I mean, Manny has to suspend his disbelief and follow a woman he thought was dead into the night. That is a massive leap of faith.
An insane leap of faith. So who is this patient that is worth blowing up a centuries-old supernatural cover for? Let's introduce the vampire reality. We have Payne.
Payne is a character of tragic irony. She's a twin sister of Vicious, and she's the daughter of the Scribe Virgin, who is essentially the deity of the vampire race. For centuries, Payne was imprisoned by her mother to keep her away from the war. She existed in this state of suspended animation on the other side.
Talk about helicopter parenting. That is next level.
To the absolute extreme. But recently, she was freed. She comes to the Brotherhood's compound, and she starts training. She wants to be a warrior like her brother. She starts sparring with Wrath, the Blind King.
She's finally using her body, finally feeling the burn of muscles and the rush of combat after centuries of
Exactly. And then a freak accident.
a broken spine, T6 and T7 vertebrae. She's paralyzed from the waist down.
And the text describes her lying on the table, unable to feel her legs. She tells V, her brother, "I cannot live in another prison."
Ugh. That line hit me hard. She just got out of a temporal prison and now she's locked in her own body. It's devastating.
And that is the stakes for her. It's not just about mobility, it's about agency. If she cannot move, she is trapped again. She can't be a warrior. She can't be independent.
And this brings us to Vicious, her twin brother. V is, well, he is not handling this well.
Understatement of the year.
V is the guy you do not want to mess with. He's covered in tattoos, he smokes hand-rolled cigarettes constantly, and he has this gloved hand that is essentially a nuclear weapon.
The glove of death, yes. His right hand has the power to destroy, but emotionally, V is just spiraling. He just found out he has a sister.
Right, he's just met her.
He has spent his whole life thinking he was alone in his lineage, aside from a father he hated and a mother who was distant. Now he has a twin, and he is terrified of losing her.
In the text, Payne actually asks him to euthanize her, to take care of her. She doesn't recover.
And V agrees.
Wow.
It's brutal, but it fits their culture. It is the warrior code. Pragmatism over sentiment. But it tears V apart. He's aggressive. He's volatile. He's lashing out at everyone.
So when Jane suggests bringing a human Manny into their secret world to save her, V must have just lost his mind.
He is completely resistant. He is territorial. He views humans as a threat to their secrecy, a weakness.
But Jane wins out. She drives Manny's Porsche, which he is very particular about, by the way, constantly worrying about the suspension.
Of course he is.
And takes him to the Brotherhood's compound. And this journey is wild. Manny is looking at the security gates, the underground tunnels, and he thinks this is some top-secret government black site.
It's the only logical explanation his human brain can construct. He's trying to fit the impossible into a framework he understands. Okay, secret bunker, high security,
Right.
must be the feds.
Right. I'm being recruited for some off-the-books surgery.
But once he gets inside, the biological reality hits him.
First, he has to deal with the headache. The source material mentions that humans get these blinding migraines around vampires. It's a defense mechanism to keep them from retaining memories, right?
Exactly. It's a biological cloak. It disorients humans so they can't focus on the fact that the person in front of them has fangs or moves way too fast.
So Jane has to help Manny release the memories just so he can function. She acts as a buffer.
And then comes the confrontation.
Oh, yeah.
Manny walks into the exam room and meets Vicious.
He calls him the goatee hater in his internal monologue, which I found pretty amusing.
It is. And V growls at him, literally growl.
Oh, growl.
And Manny, being the alpha surgeon that he is, he just kicks V out. Get that miserable bastard out of my operating room.
You have to respect the confidence. He's shouting down a vampire assassin who could incinerate him with a high five.
But Manny treats the operating room as his domain. In that room, he is God. He doesn't care if you're a terrorist, a king, or a monster. If you are in his way, you move.
But then Manny sees Payne, and the dynamic shifts instantly.
It does. The text describes Manny being completely struck by her. Not just her injury, but her presence. Her eyes are described as diamond-like with dark rims.
And he recognizes her musculature as that of a soldier.
There is an immediate magnetic pull. He's looking at her and thinking, who is this woman? She's built like an Amazon, she's beautiful, and she's broken.
But then he looks at the MRI, and the medical procedural turns into a sci-fi drama. He sees the anomaly in the spine. He realizes she is not human.
This is a pivotal moment for Manny. A lesser doctor might have run, or panicked, or called the police. Manny sees that she is different, the different species, and he just proceeds anyway.
The patient comes first.
Always. He makes the decision to treat the patient, regardless of what she is. However, he realizes the compound's clinic is insufficient. They need a real hospital. They need St. Francis.
He demands to take her to St. Francis. His turf, his equipment, and V
absolutely refuses. He is not about to let his secret sister go to a human hospital where they could be exposed.
And this leads to a physical altercation.
It does. Manny actually tackles Vicious.
A human tackling a vampire. I mean, it's a suicidal move.
Completely, but it shows Manny's dedication. He essentially says, I can't save her here. If you want her to live, we go.
And Jane intervenes, and eventually V relents, but only after he has a vision. We should talk about that. V has these visions of the future, right?
Usually V sees death. That is his curse. He sees how people die. It's awful. But in this moment, looking at the argument, looking at his sister, he sees a vision of Payne riding a horse, free and happy, under the moon.
Oh, wow.
It's not necessarily a guarantee of the future, but a vision of what could be. That image of freedom breaks his resistance. He agrees to the transport.
So they load her up. They are rushing Payne to St. Francis for this secret surgery. But while they are doing that, we have a whole other threat brewing in the background. We need to talk about X-Corps and the Band of Bastards.
Yes, X-Corps. He is the antagonist here, but his backstory in the source material is deeply, deeply intertwined with Payne, though he doesn't know it yet.
The text gives us this flashback to 1761 in the Old Country. X-Corps is watching his father, the Bloodletter, attacking a human woman, and then the Wraith appears.
The Wraith is Payne. She intervenes to save the human. X-Corps watches this female warrior take down his father, who was a brute, a monster to his children.
A terrible guy by all accounts.
Awful. And she incinerates him. She just glows with light, burns him alive.
And X-Corps' reaction is, well, it's disturbing. He keeps his father's skull. He puts it in his shirt over his heart.
It is. That is some serious baggage.
Yeah.
It is. X-Corps idolized his father, despite the abuse. It's a very complex, twisted psychology. He views the Bloodletter as the ultimate warrior. So when this female kills him, X-Corps vows vengeance. He has spent centuries wanting to kill the Wraith.
Now, fast forward to the present day. X-Corps is living in a castle near Caldwell with his soldiers Throw, Zypher, and the others. They call themselves the Band of Bastards.
And they are bored.
Totally bored. There are no lessers, the vampire hunters, left in Europe to fight, so they've come to America.
They've been hunting humans just to stay sharp, which is dark. But Throw suggests moving to London to hunt a human serial killer. X-Corps agrees to move, but his internal monologue reveals his true motive.
He senses her.
He senses the female is near. He's hunting Payne.
So you have this collision course set. Manny is trying to fix Payne. V is trying to protect Payne. And X-Corps is coming to kill Payne. It's a powder keg.
And note the contrast. X-Corps wants to avenge the father that Payne and Vicious hated and killed. The Bloodletter was a source of trauma for everyone. But X-Core worships that trauma, while V and Payne are trying to survive it.
Speaking of surviving trauma,
Or?
while Payne is in surgery at St. Francis, Vicious is just spiraling. He retreats to his penthouse at the Commodore. And this scene is heavy.
It is. We see V engaging in self-harm. He uses hot black wax on his skin. It's a ritualistic behavior for him.
Why? I mean, what's driving that?
The text explains that he feels this disconnect. He was a sadist, a dom for centuries. Now he's happily mated to Jane, but the stress triggers his old coping mechanisms. He uses pain to ground himself.
It's heartbreaking because he feels guilty about it. He feels like he's betraying Jane by going back to these dark habits. He calls her, and she knows. He just tells him, I know who you are.
It's a moment of radical acceptance. She doesn't judge him. She loves him, all of him, but it doesn't stop his spiral.
The pain of the wax isn't enough.
No. He goes out to an alley and literally lets a group of lessers, the vampire slayers, beat him with chains.
He stands there with his arms out. He just lets them hit him.
He is seeking atonement, or perhaps just a release that matches his internal pain. He feels helpless regarding his sister, so he seeks a situation where he can feel something else, anything else.
It's only when Butch O'Neill arrives that it stops.
Butch, the best friend. The bromance to end all bromances.
Well, that's for Butch.
Indeed. Butch is the destroyer. He's a human-turned-vampire who can absorb the lessers. He saves Fee, reprimands him for the death wish, and cleans up the alley. But there's a disturbingly specific detail in that alley that links back to the X-Core plot.
The hand.
Yes. Butch finds a pale, small hand in a dumpster. It hints that X-Core and his bastards have been active in the area. It's a grim reminder that while V is fighting his inner demons, real demons are at the doorstep.
So let's get back to the hospital, St. Francis. The surgery's over. Manny has rebroken and set the spine. Payne wakes up. And the vibe in that recovery room, it is off the charts.
It is the awakening in more ways than one. Payne wakes up, and despite the trauma, she is completely focused on Manny. The text describes a profound magnetic pull.
And you have to remember, Payne is a virgin.
A centuries-old virgin.
She has been in prison for her entire life. She has never been with a male, and she is fascinated by this human healer.
She admits to him that she is a vampire. She says, there is a name for what I am. She expects him to scream, to run.
And Manny, he isn't scared. He's turned on.
The source text is very explicit about his reaction. He is fighting a massive physical attraction. He realizes she is 305 years old, which technically makes her of age, but she is innocent in the ways of intimacy.
Right. She has the body of a woman and the experience of a sequestered monk.
Exactly. And then she asks him for a kiss. She says, teach me. She wants to taste him.
And this is where Manny shows his character again. He wants to, desperately. Every instinct in his body is screaming, yes. But he stops.
He pulls back.
He realizes he cannot take advantage of a patient, especially one who is so vulnerable and inexperienced. He says, I can't be trusted with you right now. It's a moment of immense restraint.
It is. But here is the tragedy, the protocol. Humans cannot know about vampires.
Right.
Once she is stabilized, Manny has to be mind-wiped. He is going to lose all memory of this night, of her, of the surgery, everything.
Payne knows this. And she is clever. She asks him to unbraid her hair before he leaves.
And Manny, thinking quickly, slips his business card into her braid.
Yes.
That is the loophole. Call me if you can. He hides it in her hair so the memory wipe won't make him remove it and V won't find it immediately. It's a physical artifact of a memory that is about to be erased.
It's a message in a bottle.
It is. The wipe happens. Manny wakes up in his office later with a migraine, the side effect of the wipe. He has lost the time. He thinks he fell asleep.
But he has this vivid, erotic dream about Payne. He remembers the fangs in the dream, but dismisses it as a nightmare or just a fantasy.
And then he goes to his car, which has been moved because, remember, Jane drove it to the compound and back, and he realizes something happened. He just doesn't know what. It's this lingering echo of a connection that refuses to be completely erased.
Which brings us to the so what of this deep dive. Why does this story matter beyond the romance and the action?
Well, for me, it's about connection-defying logic. You have Manny and Payne, different species, different centuries, separated by memory wipe. And yet the card is in the braid. The dream is in his head.
You can't scrub the emotional imprint.
Exactly. And I would add that it's about the universality of healing. We have Manny healing a horse to heal himself. We have Payne trying to heal her body to gain freedom. We have V trying to heal his mind, albeit destructively.
Right.
The source text weaves these threads together to show that trauma is a great equalizer. It doesn't matter if you were a vampire king's daughter or a trauma surgeon from Queens. Pain is pain. And the desire to be whole again drives everyone.
And before we wrap up, we have to mention the subplot with Quinn, just a brief touch. He's at a club called the Iron Mask.
Yes. Quinn is another outsider. He has mismatched eyes, one blue, one green, which the vampire aristocracy, the Glimmera, considers a defect. He is estranged from his family.
And in the scene provided, he is pining for Blay, another male vampire who is with someone else.
So he's acting out, looking for hookups to numb the loneliness. It just reinforces that theme of forbidden desires and outsiders that runs through the whole book. Everyone in this story is looking for a home, or a person to call home.
It sets the stage for future conflicts within the Brotherhood, certainly. The social structure is fracturing.
For sure.
So here is the final provocative thought to leave you with. X-Core is coming. He has his father's skull on his shirt and revenge in his heart. He is hunting the female who killed his father. That female is Payne.
And she is currently lying in a recovery bed at the Brotherhood compound, unable to walk.
Meanwhile, Manny is back at St. Francis with a hole in his memory and a business card waiting to be found.
When those worlds collide again, and they will, it won't just be a medical emergency. It will be war.
And the question is, can a human doctor actually have a future with a 300-year-old vampire warrior when the entire world is trying to keep them apart? And can Payne recover enough to face X-Core when he inevitably knocks on the door?
Those are the questions that will drive the rest of the narrative.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Keep those scalpels sharp and your garlic. Actually, maybe leave the garlic at home this time. Catch you next time.